All right, I finally got my tripod and camera set up a little better. Not great, but like I said, I'm just a guy with a smartphone trying to fix old funky mowers. I told my wife I was working on a rat rod out in the garage. I'm calling that because of these awesome wheels I put on here, which are far from standard. Like I mentioned in the last video, I want to get this rewinder off and look under there and make sure there's no critters, and there was some kind of clunking noise going on. When I squirted the starter fluid on it, it did fire, so at least there's hope for this thing. This one's old enough to where it doesn't use the 3/8 screws to hold the rewinder on, it uses 7/16. So let's get these started, and then I'll use my electric wrench so we're not just using a valuable time using this ratchet. Oh man, that was a tough one. Okay. Oh, I think this will come off a little easier now. I did mention I'm leaving this old spark plug in there, and it did fire. I'm not a big believer in changing plugs just to be changing them. Most people go nuts with that unnecessarily and spend too much money unnecessarily. Enough things to work on these mowers without changing things that do not need to be changed. Okay, let's see if we got any weird stuff under here. Alright, no mouse nest. Wood wood is so far so good. And this is the little clutch mechanism. And with these old mowers, what we're looking at, let me show you this. With these old mowers, if you go into a new mower, you're not going to see anything like this. This is the old ones. And they're actually, they call this a starter clutch. And underneath, you take off this little screw here and this little screw here, and then this wire then will come off. This wire mesh will come off. But very quickly, without moving anything, put these screws back in, because you don't want this to separate and have those ball bearings get out. And this old thing does appear to be working. See, it goes this way, there's no resistance, but then that's when it hits the little notches, and those bearings allow that to happen. So, and this is the air vane, and you'll notice it's actually touching the flywheel, and that's because the tank is off and the carburetor's off. Otherwise, when it's connected, see, it's going to be in a position sort of like that. What I'm going to do right now is put a couple of drops of automatic transmission fluid down that little, down this little hole right there. Because what's under there is a fiber or fabric fiber wick right at the top, and it absorbs that, either oil or whatever you put in there. I use automatic transmission fluid, and it absorbs that and then lubricates down in here. Otherwise, you can get this horrible squealing, screeching noise sometimes if you don't do that. So while it's off, I'm going to take care of that. So let me set the phone down and get my automatic transmission fluid. It may still squeal even after I do this. If it does, then I'll take that apart like I was telling you about. So I want to get something real clean. Like one of my needles I use for tight work. Let's see, where are you guys? Let's see, there's one. Something like that. So I can put down in here and get me a drop of automatic transmission fluid, and I'm going to let it drip right down into that little weep hole. It may form a puddle until it drips down in there. And then I will also use tip of this thing to kind of poke that fiber because it's usually all dried out. That's too big to go in there. We find one of the other ones. It's got to be something like a nail or a pin or something. Yeah, this one might go down. So I'm poking that. And letting that stuff drip down in there. Let me go back to this again. Drip. Drip. Now, poke this a little bit. You can kind of see it disappear as it goes down in there and sucks into that wick. We'll do another one. And do another one. It's still going in there. That tells me it's not saturated. It's still going in there. We'll poke a little bit and assist that transmission fluid to go down in there. So we're going to go again. Kind of missed with that one. Missed with that one. There we go. Okay. So that may be enough. Wiggle that around. That fabric is fiber fabric thing sits right at the top and absorbs this. It's called a wick. K. And that wick lubricates things. So now I can put both these back. Put the cap on the ATF because I don't want that to spill over. Let's see now. Okay. Hopefully that'll help. I'm going to look at this, I'm looking at my gap. That gap looks way too tight to me. Check again, go this way. Yeah, that looks a little tight to me, so I'm going to go ahead and reset this gap. That looks like 5/16. Let me get that over here. Holds the air vane on. Just get them loose so you don't have to get it off, but enough to where I can get my little strips of milk jug that I use. Okay, that's not the magnetic side. There's one little plastic strip right there. Here's another one. Slip these around here. First I want to get the magnet side around. You go clunk clunk when it does. There's one, and there's the other one. Okay. So that's contacting the wheel, which you don't want. So we set the air gap, put this little piece of milk jug in there, and then do the same thing on the other side. Oh, that's a tough one. Maybe I should loosen this nut a little bit more. There we go. There, take it out. Air vane's getting in the way. Come on, get it under that air vane. Now, okay, so now it's snug up there because those magnets are so powerful. Now, I can tighten these. That gap, using these little milk jug strips would be perfect. You can believe me because I've done hundreds and hundreds of lawnmowers this way. There's a separate video on how to do this with little milk jug strips. Some of you may have seen it. Okay, so now I'll just pull these out. If they don't come out easily, then turn the wheel and they'll come out. And that gap is looking much better, much better. Okay. So now we've got to figure out, let me put a little bit of water on this spring and this rewinder, because I'm sure that's been neglected. Where you can go in with this is right there at that, where that tab is. So let me squirt a little bit of ep.4 in there. We haven't gotten lubrication in years. There's that little tab. The little tab right there, the little metal tab. Right there, not on the cord, but above that. And W40 now. These old rewinders are clunky and funky. Need a little lubrication. Alright. So while that's off, let's see how much time we got here. Okay, well, when we come back, we'll put the tank on. So I'm signing off for now. Stay tuned.